Hi, today we are going to talk about what happens when we sleep. So, there are four stages during sleep. The first stage is non REM or non rapid eye movement. This is also called slow wave sleep because the brain waves are really low in frequency at this point. This happens when our brain transitions from wakefulness to sleep. Heart rate, breathing, and brain activity slows down at this point. The second stage is also slow wave sleep. And here, the heart rate, breathing slow down, and the muscles relax, body temperature drops, and the eye movements completely stop. The next one is this third stage, which is basically the most important one because this is the transition stage from light sleep to deep sleep. Here, our brain waves slow down dramatically. Stage 4 is REM sleep, and this is technically known as deep sleep. Dreams occur, rapid eye movement occurs, breathing, heart rate, brain activity, and body temperature dramatically increases. And at this point, the brain waves are really active to focus on the dreams and generate more dreams. Now we shall look at the brain waves. The most frequent brain wave is gamma waves. This has a frequency of 30 to 80 hertz and is used in deep sleep or while concentrating. Beta waves have a frequency of 13 to 30 hertz, and this is used during extracurricular activities or non important activities. Alpha waves is the mediocre one, having 8 to 12.99 hertz of frequency, and this occurs while we are relaxed. The fourth one is theta waves with 4 to 7.99 hertz of frequency. This occurs during stage 1 and 2 of sleep. Stage 1 and 2, as we remember, are non REM sleeps. The next one is delta waves. Delta waves have a frequency of 1 to 3.99 hertz, and this occurs during stage 3 of sleep, which is basically the transition point, as we said earlier. And the brain waves are completely slowing down to enter into deep sleep. Remember, deep sleep has gamma waves because it is really active to generate dreams. Now let's talk about wakefulness. There are a few parts of the brain that are involved in wakefulness, including acetylcholine, serotonin, glutamate, and norepinephrine, which are neurotransmitters. The hypothalamus, which we talked about in the limbic system and the hypothalamus videos, produces orexin, which plays a role in being awake, and it also plays a role in mother baby connections, which is not relevant to our situation now. The thalamus keeps track of consciousness while being alert. In this image, the VLPO GABAergic neurons increase in amount during sleep because it stimulates sleep, while the monoaminergic neurons increase in amount during wakefulness. So, as you can see in the image, on the left side, during the awake state, the VLPO GABAergic neurons are actually really low in amount, and the monoaminergic neurons are really high in amount. And the Orexin neurons controls this. The Orexin neurons are controlled by the limbic system, SCN, which I will talk about in later videos, and the energy balance. The right one shows the sleep state. Basically, the Orexin neurons are controlling the VLPO GABAergic neurons and the monoaminergic neurons again, but the VLPO GABAergic neurons are high in amount and the monoaminergic neurons are low in amount. Now, there are two systems that are most important for sleep. The first one is circadian rhythm, and the second one is homeostatic system. The top one, the circadian rhythm, shows that the melatonin levels are really low during awakeness and really high during sleep. Melatonin is a pigment, and during a wakefulness, it decreases because right when the eyes see light, the system is set so that the melatonin levels decrease, and so the brain realizes that it's morning and your brain wakes up. And this depends on the sunset and sunrise. It's not exactly 6 a.m. or 6 p.m. as it is on the graph. And even when you're traveling to other places, the same thing happens, except because you're going on a flight or something like that, the sleep schedule gets destroyed because the sleep schedule in the flight is not producing enough light to control your melatonin levels. That is why people have jet lag if they go in flight. The second one is homeostatic system. This is almost the same thing except the graph put upside down. So as you can see, the adenosine levels are really high during awakeness and really low during sleep. And so this shows that the adenosine acts opposite of the melatonin. The adenosine is mostly for fear and alertness. And so when it increases, your brain's alertness increases, and so you immediately wake up. And this usually happens like 1 to 2 hours after you actually wake up because of the melatonin, because until then, the adenosine are getting used to the light and collecting the concentration together. First, the circadian rhythm. We shall go in depth into both the systems. And the circadian rhythm is regulated by the suprachiasmatic nucleus, which is like the master clock of the body, and it controls many involuntary activities heart rate, breathing, even though the pons, medulla oblongata, those parts control breathing, including brainstem. The master clock is like the main part of the brain, which controls everything with the pituitary gland. And this is in the hypothalamus, so it plays a big role in the limbic system too. This mainly differentiates day and night. That is its main job. The next one is the homeostatic system. Research shows that adenosine is involved, as I said previously, and when adenosine increases, sleep decreases. This is just a simple formula involved in homeostatic system. That's it. Homeostatic just means equilibrium. So the adenosine increases and sleep decreases basically canceled out. There are a few disorders involving sleep. Although I'm not going in depth into each of these disorders, we shall just hover over them. The first one is sleep apnea, which occurs when the airways rest and collapse. And so, in the middle of the night, the patient's airways might collapse and they will have difficulty breathing, and so they never go into deep sleep. And so, symptoms can be difficulty breathing, snoring, lack of deep sleep, and it increases the chance of heart attack. There are a few treatments for this, and one of the most known treatments is the continuous airway opener, which basically, as shown in the image, opens the airway by flushing a lot of air in and opening it inside the throat. The next one is the restless leg syndrome. This is basically the limb movements during sleep, especially slow wave sleep, and so this takes away the most energy that you need during the day, and so it makes you more tired and causes patients to sleep during the day. This is the main symptom of Parkinson disease. So if a patient has restless leg syndrome, there's a really high chance that they have Parkinson. The third one is REM sleep disorder, which is basically failure to paralyze during REM sleep. REM sleep's main rule is to paralyze because this is the point when the brain is generating dreams and the brain activity is really high. And so when we don't paralyze, the brain activity is wasted for the movements and the dreams don't generate, which does not let you go into deep sleep. And so symptoms include sleepwalking, acting out dreams, and same thing as restless leg syndrome, having Parkinson's disease symptoms. Treatments are possible, and these include doses of benzodiazepine, a GABA agonist, and clonazepam, which both are drugs. The fourth one is narcolepsy. This is not really heard often, even it's heard often, but it's not really widespread. And this is basically a problem in the mechanisms controlling transitions in sleep. And so the stages of the sleep are messed up, and there's a loss of cells in the lateral hypothalamus, which affects the suprachiasmatic nucleus. And there are sudden sleep attacks, so the melatonin levels don't actually work well because of the suprachiasmatic nucleus. And there's a hypnagogic hallucination, which is basically daydreaming, and cataplexy. Cataplexy is it could be a separate disorder or it could be involved in narcolepsy. It's mostly involved in narcolepsy, and basically it's paralysis while being awake. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation. I hope you learned something new.